So good morning all, welcome. Thank you for joining me this morning in our Hatha practice. My name is Tiffany. I appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to share it with me. We are going to start in Sukhasana but propped on a block. So what I'd like you to do is grab your block. You're going to take your sit bones to the front edge of your block so your pelvic tilts forward. And I'm already sitting on a block and the pelvic is tilting forward. You want to make sure your heels are staggered so you're not crossing at the ankles and popping the knees up. We want the release in the hips and knees and let the pelvic tip forward. Pull your heart up to the sky and then just relax your hands at your thighs or your knees and close your eyes. If you don't have blocks, if you don't have a belt, it is okay. Poses can still be done without any of the props. You can also use towels or or books. But just take this moment and settle into this space. Relaxing the face, the tongue, the jaw. Feel your shoulders drop into your back pockets. Feel the heart lifting you to the sky so you lengthen your spine, sitting nice and tall. Let the breath flow naturally through the nose. If you can seal the lips and just breathe through the nose, let that happen. With our eyes closed or a gentle gaze to the tip of our nose, we start turning off that external stimuli. We're able to draw the awareness in. Notice how your body is feeling in this seated position. Is there any adjustments that you will need to make? And I want you to listen to your body throughout the class and make those adjustments. Start to move the breath deeper into the body. Inhale, filling your body like a balloon. Let it expand in all directions. And as you exhale, you're deflating that balloon, pressing all the air out. Feel your belly button pull in nice and tight on that exhale. Then when you think all the air is gone, then take your next big inhale. If you joined me last month, we talked about Ujjayi breath. Those of you that already know how to take Ujjayi, you're more than welcome to take that Ujjayi breathing. Those of you that are unfamiliar with it, I want you to inhale, drag the air along the back of your throat to where you would gargle water. And then when you exhale, it's like fogging a mirror, but your lips are sealed. It is a more active breath. It can sound like the ocean or even leaves rustling in a tree. Some of you may even think it sounds like Darth Vader. Or you don't hear your breath at all, and that's okay. Take this Ujjayi breath 4 more times. Notice the body. Are you slouching? Notice the jaw. Are you clenching your teeth as you breathe deeper and exhale longer? And if so, fix it. Sit tall. Soften your jaw. Send the message to your body that you are relaxing. That you're letting go of thoughts and to-do lists, stress and tension. One more deep breath like this. Return to the normal pace of your breath if you'd like, or stick with deeper breathing. But when you're ready, change that lead leg and bring balance into easy seated. Sitting up nice and tall, again, soften the shoulders. While you're here, I want you to start to shift your rib cage side to side. And if you're not comfortable doing this on the block, because as you sit to the edge, it might start to move, you're welcome to move it out from underneath you. Just a little movement along the spine, still feeling rooted into the mat or into our block. And then circle your rib cage around. like your belly button is drawing the circle. And some of you will take it fast, some of you will take it slow. It may be big or small in terms of circling around. Go one more time around, and then change directions. Use your hands to support you on your thighs or at your knees. Feel free to go deeper and bend the elbows, get lower if you'd like. Make this yours. Go one more time around, and come back to center to sit tall. Slowly tip the right ear towards the shoulder. Nice long stretch to the side of the neck. If you'd like to go a little deeper, pick the right hand up and send it to the side of the head. Let the weight of your hand create a deeper stretch. We're not pulling, we're just sending the weight of our hand there. And then some of you will release your left arm to the earth, or you'll hover it off the earth. More doesn't always mean better. Remember, this is you listening to the body, being that student of your body. Let's release the hands, inhale the head up, exhale, tip to the other side. Now be careful, the shoulders like to ride up. Keep rolling the shoulders down to your back pockets. Head is heavy, shoulders are soft. And if you'd like, pick the left hand up to the side of the head. Remember, just the weight of the hand. How does that feel? If you want to go a little more, release your fingers to the earth or hover that right hand off the mat. Gently release the hands, inhale the head center, exhale your chin to your chest. Still sitting tall, lifting the heart to the sky, head and neck just relaxes. From here, take a moment and bring your fingertips to the back of your neck and just walk your fingers along the back of your neck. Up and down the cervical spine. Think of your fingers marching along your neck, so put a little pressure in there. And maybe down your shoulders, or right in your traps where you feel a lot of tension. Maybe give a little squeeze there, squeezing the skin or pinching it with your hands. Just find ease. We tend to carry a lot of tension in our shoulders, our neck. So just moving that tension out. And as you release your arms, inhale, circle them up to the sky, lift your chin up towards the sky. Exhale the hands down and through. 2 more times like this. Inhale, circle up. Exhale down and through. 1 more time. Bring the hands to rest at the heart center. Let your chin release towards the chest. Sometimes my mouth doesn't follow along with what my words are trying to be. In this moment, I invite you to set an intention. What is it you need from this practice today? And then remind yourself throughout the practice that anytime you're saying, I can't, my body doesn't, it's not about that. Find your ease. What was the intention of being on the mat today? Gently release the hands. Slowly blink the eyes open and raise the gaze. We've been sitting on the block. I invite you to come off the block and just set the blocks off to the side. I want you to turn in either direction on your mat, and I want you to slowly lay yourself back onto the mat. And take a moment to hug those shins or hamstrings into the body. And just roll across your back. Little massage here, just swaying the knees, rolling from hip bone and shoulder. And then take a pause. Release your left leg down and hug that right shin into the body. Nice big hug here. Then extend the leg to the sky, hold at the hamstring, and point and flex that foot. 2 more. And hold. Now roll that ankle in one direction. 1 more time, pause, and then switch directions, roll it in the other direction. And release that right leg to the ground. Hug the left leg into the body. Nice big hug at the shin or the hamstring, whatever feels best for you. Then extend that leg up, holding at the hamstring, and point and flex the foot. So remember, this practice is us holding poses a little bit longer, but also taking some ease into the practice. Pause, roll the ankle in one direction. Pause, change directions. And hold. As you release your left foot down, heel toe the feet open to the width of your mat, so your legs are wide. Now, roll your hips and knees to the left side, coming onto the edges of your feet. And as you do this, take this right hip and push it towards the left. And as that hip is pushing, draw your right knee down towards the edge of the mat as well. So you have your knee drawing down and your hip, so you have energy pushing in two directions. Hands can be down on the earth or open to the letter T. It is up to you. Inhale, come back to center. Feet are still as wide as the mat. Please don't move your feet and hip width apart. I want you to get this big, juicy stretch. Now, feet are wide. Roll your hips over and knees to the right. Draw your left hip over, right knee down towards the other end of your mat. So again, our energy is moving in two different directions. Stay holding, maybe a little squeeze in that glute. You can open your arms. Wherever you want the gaze, straight to the sky or over to the left arm. Inhale, come back to center. Heel toe the feet back in line with the body. From here, what I want you to do is just set yourself up for this bridge work, but we're going to incorporate cat and cow. So right now, I'm going to pull my shirt up so you can see how my back is lifted off the mat. So I want you to arch your back, and I don't know if I'll put my arm over my head. See how the back is arching. Keep your arm down. I'm just moving my arm out of the way. And then you're going to tuck like you'd go into cow. Here's cat, and then arch like you'd go into cow. Cat, cow. Now, if you had your arms up because you were mocking me, let that go. Bring your arms back down to the mat and just tuck your pelvic and arch the back. Exhale when you tuck, scoop your pelvic. Inhale when you arch. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, arch. We are going to incorporate this into bridge pose. Take this 2 more times. Tuck and arch. Tuck. Now hold your arch. From this arch, notice my back is not touching the floor. I am arching nice and deep. I want you to start there as well. Move your feet a little closer so you can graze your heels. Tuck your shoulders. Inhale, lift with that arch in your back. Exhale, tuck the pelvic and roll down 1 vertebra at a time. Keep the pelvic tucked when you come down. Then arch the back, rise up. Tuck the pelvic, roll down. So think of doing cat and cow here. Arch the back as you rise. Tuck the pelvic, roll down from shoulders all the way to that tailbone. Then arch and rise. Tuck and lower down. 1 more time like this. Arch and rise. Tuck, and now we're going to do this opposite, okay? Hold the tuck. So notice my back is imprinted on the mat. I want you to do the same thing. Your pelvic is scooping. Now scoop up to the sky, and then arch your back. Tailbone is going to come down first, and then release. Low back, mid back, press into this tuck, right? And then from here, scoop up with that tuck. Arch the back, lower the tailbone down first. So we're arching, 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 arching. Tailbone touches. We release into that scoop and come back up. And arch and lower down. If I'm moving too fast, slow it down, but we're going to go 2 more times. Scoop, hold the tuck, lift the hips to the sky. Arch the back, lower those hips, your tailbone down first, then hips, low back, scoop last time. Rise up in that scoop. Arch the back, lower in that arch. So tailbone touches down first. And then we release. Take a pause, open those feet up to the width of the mat. Windshield wiper those legs. Sometimes for some of us, that's a lot on the spine of all this arching and tucking. So find some ease first by swinging the knees side to side, windshield wipers. And then slowly draw both legs towards the chest. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders and tuck into a ball. So some of us may find a little more ease tucking a little deeper. From here, I invite you to rock up or roll to one side and press yourself up, whatever feels great. Go ahead, sweep the legs around. Coming into table, all fours. Take a little stretch here. I want you to do that, thread the needle. So bring your right arm up to the sky and then thread it through. Hips stay over knees, forehead and ear to the, not forehead, cheek and temple to the mat, pushing your left hand into the earth. If coming all the way down doesn't work, use your block and use that to kind of help anchor the shoulder, and you can rest your head on the block as well. Whatever feels best for you today. If you want to extend your arm up to the sky or across the back, that is up to you, but what I want you to do is focus on the right arm pulling away from going underneath the body. Then inhale, rise up, draw the right arm to the sky. Exhale, take that hand to the earth. Other side, inhale, rise up. Exhale, twist through. Wherever you want to take that right hand, is it to the sky, across the back, but reach strong with that left hand. Inhale, rise back up, look to the left arm, and then hand comes back down. From here, what I want you to do is walk your hands forward, one hand print. And we're going to make our way into lizard pose, and I'm going to move my blocks a little bit further forward. I want you to take this right foot and take it outside your right hand. If you don't make it there, and the foot is back here, pick it up, move it forward. And I just want you to rock just a little bit. We're not straightening the front leg, we're just rocking and just letting our foot lift a little bit. Just a little rock here, forward and back. Nothing too major. We'll get to that later. And as you rock forward, release the foot back like you're in kneeling plank, and then bring the left foot forward. Same thing, help that foot forward, and then just start to do a little roll rock. So our foot just peels up a little bit. We're not trying to straighten the leg. We're just letting the hip come forward and pull back. Forward and back. Like you're toe tapping. 2 more. And then hold forward, release your knee back, and if you're comfortable, float back into child's pose. If this is not comfortable for you, you can stay forward on your forearms, keeping your hips a little higher, or just somewhere halfway between your heels and the hips over knees. It's up to you. Just a nice long stretch here, lengthening that spine. And let's inhale forward to kneeling plank. Exhale all the way down to relax, crocodile, drawing the belly button to your spine, keeping the hands under your chest. I want you to inhale, lift into cobra, elbows stay bent. Look over the right shoulder, come center, look over the left shoulder, release down, forehead or chin to touch the mat. And again, I'm going to move back so you can see me and I'm not crowded out by all my stuff. So from here, keep your hands under your chest, chin or forehead on the mat. I'm going to do chin so you can hear me. And then lift your right leg, lower down, lift your left leg, lower down, lift both legs. Belly pulls into spine and release. Inhale, rise up into cobra. Look over the right shoulder. Come center. Look over the left shoulder. Come center. Lower down. Inhale, right leg and lower. Left leg and lower. Both legs. And come on down. One more time, we're going to hold in cobra. Inhale, lift up. Now this is one we're going to hold a little longer. Remember, we don't have to lift very high. Snakes have no hands. So lightly touch your fingers, squeeze the shoulders and elbows back, push the top of your feet into the mat, and lift your knees. And release. Just lift the legs. Here we go. Last one. And lower down. Gently press up into kneeling plank and float back to child's pose. Nice long stretch here. Reach those fingertips out nice and long. And this time when you come forward, I want you to step your right foot between your hands. So come up and step the right foot between your hands. For some of you, this may require you now to use the blocks. And if so, let the blocks frame the foot. We're dropping the hip forward. And again, just a little rock. Just a little rock. We're not going into the full poses yet. We'll save that for later. And if you can't see, my right foot is still lifting and lowering. But now we've changed so the hamstring is more active than when it gives a little more ease to the hips when our foot is outside our hands. All right, from here, release the right foot back, step the left foot forward. And again, drop your hips into it. If you don't need the blocks, I'm just going to move it so you can see without the block. We're just rocking here. Two more. Last one. From here, what I want you to do is turn your back toe under, lift the knee, and step forward into Uttanasana, forward fold. And just take a moment to let the head hang, looking to the knees or even to the upper thighs. And then inhale, take a halfway lift. Flatten that back, open the chest. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale, halfway lift. Flatten the back, open the chest. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. While you are here, heel toe your feet to the edges of the mat and let your toes hang off. Then slowly bend the knees, take your hands up onto your thighs, and either your thumbs wrap in, and I'm actually going to turn and face you though. But make sure your feet are as wide as the mat. You don't have to turn and face me unless you already are. Thumbs can come in or hands can come in. It just depends on what you like. Take your right shoulder over to your left knee. So stretching here. So if I was turned sideways, I'm going to stretch my right shoulder towards my left knee and look up to the sky. And come back to center. Now take it over to the left. Come back to center. Hold here. See if you can sink a little deeper, bringing your forearms onto your thighs and press your knees open. You can flatten the back. If you need to be higher, stay on, but try not to come here, rounding the back, tucking the pelvis. Try to stay flat. If it's accessible to you, release your hands to the earth, release the head and neck, and either keep your knees bent or start to straighten the legs. And I know your toes are turned out. Leave them turned out. Then bend your knees nice and deep. Take your hands back up onto your thighs. Let's do that one more time. And again, I'll face you. Bring your right shoulder towards your left knee. Bring your left shoulder towards your right. Come back to center. Notice I'm not here rounding. I want you to keep your back flat. However you want your hands, some of you will come onto your forearms. Push your knees wider. Flatten the back. Lengthen the top of your head. Hands can go to the earth. Let your head and neck relax. Then slowly, if you'd like, extend the legs. You can also use your blocks here, right? Now, while you're here, heel toe the feet underneath your hips. And inhale, rise up nice and tall. Exhale, hands to the heart. I'm going to come back and face on the long edge of my mat. Let's work ourselves through some standing poses, and then we'll take ourselves to the mat to stretch and do other stuff. So what I want you to do is stand nice and tall. Anchor into your right foot. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Send that left foot back. Bend into the right knee. What I want you to do here is interlace your fingers. And as you do this, flip your palms down, round your back. So I want you to feel your tailbone tuck, and you get this stretch into the hip flexor. Look down to your big toes of the right foot and make sure your knee is over the ankle. And then roll your shoulders forward. Keep bending into the knee, and while you're here, now lift your heart to the sky, raising the arms overhead. Imagine you glued your fingertips together, but you are trying to pull them apart. So find your shoulders now retracting down your back. Are you breathing? I know it's a natural thing, but sometimes when we hold and there's a lot of tension, we hold our breath. Inhale, straighten the leg for pyramid. Exhale, bring your hands onto your thigh, your shin, or even framing the foot with your blocks to bring the floor closer. When you are in this pose, be careful that you're not shifting into that right hip. You're pulling the right hip in and back. Your head and neck can relax. We feel this big, juicy stretch in the back of our right leg. That's our hamstring. As we set up for tripod stance, bend the knee. If you have blocks, walk them forward of your foot. See the distance. If not, reach your hands forward. Rise into tripod. Pull the belly button to the spine and draw all the energy up into that right hip. And you can either look forward of your fingertips or look to your shin. Squeeze your inner thighs like there's a block between your legs. You can be up on your fingertips, hands can be flat. Use your blocks, whatever feels right. Look at your pinky toe of your left foot. Is it turning down to the earth so your hips are closed? Then let's release into warrior two. Bend into the knees, send that left foot back. Rise up, open hips and shoulders. Adjust your feet, that is your foundation. But notice if you turn your foot in too much, your hips are going to turn. We want our hips aiming straight ahead. Shoulders and hips straight ahead. Knee open, aiming to the toes. Reach nice and long. Relax your shoulders. You can look straight ahead or gaze over your fingertips. Soften your arms away from your ears, but lengthen. Fire up the muscles in your arms. Dynamic tension. Some of you may find the longer we're holding, you may be adjusting your stance to go deeper. Is that what you want? If you're like, no, move your foot back in. What do you need today? For triangle, inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, reach and stretch over your thigh as you slowly release the hand to the thigh, the shin. Maybe it is your block. You can reach up to the sun as an option or stretch over the ear. What is it that your pose needs today? Up or over? Block or no block? Push into the big toe mound of your right foot. Activate that arch. Take one more deep breath here. And then inhale, rise up. Pivot your right foot and exhale into straddle fold. One more deep breath. If you had your blocks, now walk them over to your left foot. If no blocks, just turn to your left foot and step into forward fold. Let the head and neck relax. Inhale, rise up to the sun. Exhale, release the hands to the hips. Moving into warrior one on this side. Your left foot is going to stay where it's at. Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1, send your right foot back. Look, is there space between your feet? If you are on this balance beam, it's going to make your pyramid pose a lot more challenging, and we don't want that. Step the foot open, have space. like there's a line down the center of your mat. From here, the last time we were here, right, rounding. So now what I want you to do is drop the knuckles down. If that doesn't work for you, take your hands to your tailbone and pull the elbows back. So for those of us, bend into the knee, drop the knuckles down, lift the heart. Ribs are drawn in. Now bring your gaze neutral. Knuckles are drawing down, right? Now let's see if we can lift the arms a little bit away from our bodies. Breathe through it. Tap into what you're feeling. If it's ow, 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 you gotta find a different variation. Reach up to the sun for pyramid as you straighten the leg. Hinge from the hips as you send your hands to your thigh, your shin, your blocks. Remember, they're going to frame the foot. Notice I'm not sitting out into my left hip. I need you to pull that hip in and back and squeeze your inner thighs. Relax your head and neck. It's not about being able to touch the floor. Now, let's take a bend in the knees, set up for tripod. If you have your blocks, move them forward. Then rise up into that left hip. If you're not using the blocks, remember there's 3 levels to your blocks: vertical, horizontal, or flat. Okay? If you're not using the blocks, just use your fingertips or hands are flat. I want you to either look forward of your fingers to lengthen or look to your shin. When you're looking to your shin, take a gaze over to your right foot. Are the pinky toes aiming down? We want our hips aiming to the mat. Floating into warrior 2. Bend the knees, send the foot back. Rise up. Open hips and shoulders. Adjust your feet. Notice your hips. If they went sassy, tuck it under. If they're twisty hips, open back up. Then reach long, gazing to your fingertips. We're looking straight ahead. It is so up to you on where you want to take your gaze and how you want the legs to be. But with each exhale, you may be softening. Your legs may want to go wider so you can deepen into the stretch. But this doesn't always mean it makes your pose better. You may end up compromising, shifting the hips, taking the knee away from the ankle. If so, let it go. Stay where you're at and build power there. Floating into triangles, straighten the leg. Squeeze the inner thighs like you're holding a beach ball, and then stretch over to the thigh. Hands to thighs, shin. Remember, you can always use a block. Do you want the arm up to the sun or stretching overhead? Choose your own adventure, but find what your intention you set, and are you honoring that intention? Big toe mound pressing into the earth. Inhale, rise up, pivot your left foot, and exhale, hinge to straddle fold. Head, neck, and shoulders releasing to the earth. Those of you that have your blocks, use your blocks. If your hands were touching the earth, this time I want you to wrap them across your low back. Press into the outer blades of your feet like you're tearing the mat in half. Take your hands to the earth if you're there. Now, if you have your blocks, you're going to walk them over with you to the right foot. Walk over to the right foot, but now heel toe the right foot over to the edge of your mat. We were here in our warm-up. We're going to come into this deeper stretch like I promised. Bring the left knee down and drop your hips forward. Now, if your straddle was narrow and you're back here at 90-90, think of where your hands would go for kneeling plank, right? Forward. Then, let me move the block so you can see. Pick up this right foot and bring it forward with you, or caterpillar walk, scoot, 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 and drop. Those of you that are already there and you get to listen to me talk more, it just means you get a longer stretch. You're welcome. Either stay up on your hands, whether it's on the blocks, or come onto your forearms. But what I want want you to notice, are you dropping heavier into that left elbow? And if you're like, yeah, how does she know that? Because I do it sometimes too. Push strong into both forearms, both elbows or both hands. Hug this right knee in. It wants to drop open to give your hips more ease. Don't let it do that. From here, if you're up on your hands, stay there. Those of you that are on your elbows, join me up on the hands. Shift back into this half monkey variation. Offer your heart forward. Now, the farther forward your hands are, the more intense. But for some of you, it may make you round your low back. So if you're here, rounding into your low back, lengthen. Hands can come closer. Even use the block to come higher. Now let's shift forward and step into down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift the hips and step that right foot back. Hold here. Press a little firmer between the thumb and index fingers. I want you to transition into up dog or cobra. So as you shift, round the back like you're coming into plank, and then point your toes and let your hips release and your heart pulls through. It's a different way to come into up dog. If you're in cobra, hips are down, elbows are bent. Push the floor away, pull your shoulders down and away from your ears. Now pull your hips up to the sky. Back into down dog. Hold. Now bring yourself into kneeling plank. Set up for this variation of lizard. Step your left foot forward. Drop your hips into this stretch. Now, remember that leg kind of likes to go lazy, and I'll turn. When we come into this, our leg starts to go like this. See? My foot's still flat, but my knee is rocking open. I want you to hug the knee in as you're doing this pose. Now, whether you're up on your hands or down on your elbows, what am I always saying? You're like, yeah, I hear it every time. Equal pressure into both elbows. All right, come up onto your hands if you were down on those elbows. Half monkey variation, shift back. Lift your toes. What is the variation? Our foot being outside our hand. Now remember, we're not diving. We're not rounding from our belly button. We're hinging from the hips. Reaching long or staying close to the body. Whatever your hamstring is telling you. Press the left hip back, right hip forward. Ooh, that feels even better, huh? Now rock forward and come into down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Adjust your hands. Let your heels go heavy. Imagine your shoulder blades wrapping underneath your arms. And we're pressing strong between the thumb and index finger to fire up the muscles up the arms. Get ready for up dog, but round through your back. Come up onto your tiptoes, round through the back, and as you get your chest over your thumbs, point your toes, power here, and then let the hips release, heart pulls up to the sky. Lots of power as you lift your hips, come back into down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Good. Let's round our backs. Come up onto the tiptoes, round the back, come into plank, and then step your right foot forward. Walk over to your center of the mat, straddle fold again. This time, if your hands are on the block or on the floor, keep them there. Others, I ask you to take your hands behind your back. This time what I want you to do is reach your hands through the legs, cup the back of your heels, and bend the elbows as you try and pull yourself through.
If your head is touching the floor, heel toe your feet in a little bit closer, and then take the stretch there. Let's release the hands. If those of you had a heel toe your feet wider so your head didn't touch, open them back up. All right, we're coming into our Anjaneyasana, warrior lunge. Walk your hands over to your right foot and come into a lunge. Now, I want you to see how your hands are framing your foot. Take your toes and scooch them forward so your toes are past your fingers. See, here's my toes. They're past my fingers. Now bring your knee down. Notice how your knee is behind your ankle. Drop forward. Get that nice big stretch. Now, again, remember in the other pose I said be careful of your knee rolling out. Keep the knee hugging in. Stay over that big toe mound. Use your blocks if you need them. Now for some of you, I want you to point your toes. And as you do that, lift your left knee off the mat. This is optional. You do not have to do this. You can be hands flat, up on your fingertips, or even using the block. But let your hips drop. We're not trying to lift our bottom. Our hips are dropping. All we did was lift our knee. Wherever you are at, if your knee is off the mat, bring it down. Let's all shift back into monkey, curl the toes up. For some of us, it may have felt better when your foot was wider. Don't open the leg. Keep it here in line with the hip. Stretch deeper or come closer. Pull your heart to your toes. One more deep breath. Then rock forward. Meet me in down dog. So as your toes turn under, lift the hips, step into down dog. Hips high, heels are heavy. Shake the head, yes and no. Round your back as you come forward into plank. But this time, I want you, if you're pregnant, come into table and do spinal balance. The rest of us lower all the way down. You can bring your knees down first and then the rest of the body. Again, let me move my blocks. Take your hands outside your thighs for Shalabhasana, locust pose. Inhale, lift everything up. One more deep breath. Slowly release to the earth. Turn your head to one side. Inhale nice and deep. Open, let it out. Place your hands under your chest. Turn your toes under. Two options. Keep your knees on the mat and push up into kneeling plank, or lift your knees, push up into plank, and meet me in down dog. Come into kneeling plank for all. Step your left foot forward. Not all the way. We're coming into straddle fold. My bottom is going to aim towards you guys. So lift your knee, walk your hands. Hi, peekaboo. Now, the last time I had you reach through. Some of you, what I'm going to have you do is take your right hand over to your left leg, your left hand over to the right, and just hold here. It's weird, I know. Something different with the arms. If you're like, my legs are too far apart, then hug your shoulders instead. But if your right hand is on your left hand is on the right, and your left arm is over the right, release. Now take your left hand onto your right hand onto your left, and hold here. Just switch the arm that's over top. Slowly release. Anjaneyasana, warrior lunge, but let's set up for it first. Walk over to your left foot in a lunge. Bring your right knee down. Scoot your toes forward, and then move your hands, shift your hips. Anjaneyasana, warrior lunge. Blocks, right? Framing the foot, or no blocks. Some of you will leave your toes turned under and you'll stay right here. Others, flatten. So point your toes. It is the top of your foot that's going to help you lift. Lift your knee.
Notice I didn't say lift your hips. I said lift your knee. Yeah, let your hips drop heavy towards the mat. Now let your knee float down, and let's move into our half monkey pose, Ardha Hanumanasana. Shift back, toes lift up. Now, your left hip may want to swing out. Let it go. Pull that hip in and back. Left hip back, right hip forward. Head and neck relaxes. Now, you can see how my upper back is rounding, but my low back is staying flat. Be careful of rounding here and trying to stretch. Then there becomes a lot of pressure onto this back knee. Lengthen, whether you're here or out here. All right, shift forward and step into down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Think of hugging your triceps towards the ears. All right, round through the back. So up on the tiptoes, round through your back to come into plank nice and slow. Then lower all the way down to the mat. So some of you are going to put your knees down first and lower all the way down. Remember, if you're pregnant or protecting a back, you're going to go into spinal balance instead. The rest of us, Shalabhasana, locust. Now, we're going to add on to locust. You don't have to. Inhale, lift up. Bring your heels to touch. See how the legs fire up even more. Let's do sea animal, fire up your upper body. Fingertips behind the ears, hold. Elbows squeeze back with your shoulder blades, belly button into the spine. Unclench your teeth, it does not help. And return to the earth, turn your head to one side. Inhale nice and deep. Open, let it out. Place the hands under the chest. Turn the toes under. Plank or kneeling plank. Lift your knees or keep them down. Press up and come into down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Walk your feet towards your hands. Come into forward fold. Heel toe your feet to the edges of the mat. All right, so Malasana, yogi squat. Bend the knees. Now, we did a stretch where our hands were up on our thighs. So if you have to go there, go there. Then we took then we came to our forearms as part of the stretch. And then I had you take your hands down. So you can stay here, or you can let your hips drop down. And remember when I said take your elbows to help open the knees? We were wider in a different pose this morning. Lift your gaze forward. Lengthen. So either you're going to tighten up as we hold longer, or you're going to relax. Try to go for the relax. If you're tightening up, maybe you have to lift your bottom a little bit, or you have to sit on the block. What do you need today? Well, wherever you're at, go ahead and release down to the mat. Graceful or not, nobody's watching. You're in your own home. It's okay. So as you come down, I want you to grab your belt. Open up the belt. Actually, I'll turn and face you. You can stay lengthwise, or you can turn and face me too. Tuck your left foot in. I'm mirroring you now. Live. Tuck your right foot in. Extend your left foot out on an angle. And as you do this, you're going to take the belt to the ball of the foot. Please avoid the arch. You can always take it to the heel or the ball of the foot. It's what you'd like. And then I want you to turn your belly button to the knee, lift up nice and tall, and slowly walk your hands forward. Enjoy this hamstring stretch first. We're going to take the pose a little more intense into our Crouchasana, a Huron pose variation. Slowly rise up. Normally the leg is in front, right? We're here to lift the leg. I want it on an angle. Now bend the knee. If you do not have a belt, hold the hamstring or hold the calf. Those of you that don't want to use the belt, you can interlace to the ball of your foot. But what I want you to do is hold here. From the knee bend, lift the knee. From here, slowly start to straighten the leg. If you can, take the belt into one hand or hold with one hand and open out. So a little half straddle, right? Depends on what you need. If you need to hold the belt, try to turn your shoulders back to the front in line with your hips. Come back, turn to the leg, release, unlock the belt from that leg, and then change legs. So again, we can take the belt over the ball of the foot. First, turn to the leg, then hinge towards the thigh. Both thighs heavy to the mat. If this is a lot in the hip, take the block underneath that left knee. Rise up. So if you're like, hey, I need the block, put it there. If you don't need the block, release it. Then bend the knee. Both hands hold the block. We're still facing to the leg for a moment. Lift the heel. Stay here, start to straighten the leg. Now you can hold with one hand and open out to the side. We're facing forward, but the arm opens out to the side. Or hold with both. Instead of shoulders turn, you're going to turn towards the long edge of your mat or whichever way you're facing. Whatever works for you. Remember, if you don't need the belt, hold the leg. However high you want to take this leg is up to you. Then slowly come back to the leg, bend the knee, release the belt. Turn in either direction on the mat. It does not matter which way you face. I'd like you, if you have a block, have that block close by. I'm going to turn and face this way. Lay all the way back. Take the belt to the ball of your right foot. From your right foot, take the belt into the left hand. Take your right arm down to the earth. Notice my left leg. It can be bent or straight. Wherever you're at, start to move this right leg over. Stop. How does that feel? If you're protecting a back or pregnant, maybe you're going to stay right here. The rest of us can roll all the way over onto that left hip and then turn and look to the right hand. Inhale, come back to center. Open the belt. Take the left foot onto the belt, right foot down. Now, you can do this with your right knee bent. Right hand on the belt, left leg up in the air. Extend the leg out, arm out to the side. Take the left leg halfway, stop. How does your back feel? You may be getting an IT band stretch here, which may feel really good for some of you. Either stay here or continue to roll onto that right hip. And if you want, turn and look to the left hand. Inhale, come back to center. Release the belt. Take it off to the side. Hug both shins into the body. Then as you release the right foot to the earth, press your left heel to the sky. Cross this left ankle over the right thigh for figure 4. Some of you will stay here and just let your hand go to the inner thigh. Some of you will release, bring the knee over the hip, and reach around and through. Both knees need to be aiming to the sky. If you're dropping to the side, we're not getting much into that outer hip. Let your upper body relax. Feel your back make an imprint into the mat. Now, you can stay right here. Or take your left hand to the outer edge of your foot and open that knee out into half happy baby as your right foot comes to the earth. If you're going to extend the right leg, I need you to hover your heel off the floor. So our back is neutral here. It's not arching because your foot is down. It is neutral. If you're kicking your foot out to the side, I need you to bring your heel right back over your knee. Think of your knee dropping down. And some of you can bring your right hand to the heel and just add a little more. More doesn't always mean better. Draw your right knee in. Release your left foot down. Kick your heel to the sky first. Feel that hamstring say hello.
and then cross the ankle over the thigh. Some of you will stay here and just help open that leg. You have a leg that's tight and it's here. Maybe you're going to put a little pressure on it. Not so much that you're causing pain. Some of us will release that and bring the knee over the hip or reach around and through for this bound version. What's happening with the knees? Are they rolling to the right? If so, bring them back to center. As we take this half happy baby, take your right hand to the outer blade of the foot. As your left foot releases, open your knee outside your ribs. Heel stacked over knee, not kicking out to the side, heel stacked over knee. Left heel can hover. Those of you that want to hold the right heel with your left hand. Draw the left knee in, hug the shins into the body. Now, open your knees outside your ribs. And some of you are going to stay right here. You can even float your hands behind your knees. It's okay. You can bounce your knees or feet, whatever. You know what I mean. Others, you can go into full happy baby. It doesn't matter. Take it to where it feels best for you. Watch your chin. Some of us, it's pulling to the sky and we have all this pressure into the back of our head. Chin parallel to the mat if you're like, oh yeah, that feels better. We always want to find what feels best. Let's release and send our feet to the earth and come into butterfly. Take 5 deep breaths here. Start to close those eyes. Three more deep breaths. One more deep breath. Slowly start to release the legs if you'd like. Let the arms release to the earth. Eyes can be closed or a gentle gaze to the tip of your nose. And just relax here. Soften. Welcome to stay here longer, or slowly start to bring movement back into the body. Wiggle fingers and toes, roll the wrists and ankles. Then extend the arms over the head for that reawakening stretch. Reach long through the fingers and toes. And then take a gentle hug of the legs into the body.
Time always flies when we're having fun. Just roll across your back. Enjoy the feeling you have at this moment. Carry it with you through the rest of the day. Gently roll to one side or rock yourself up and come to meet in Sukhasana, an easy seated pose. You can bring the hands to the heart. Just take a nice deep breath here and sigh it out, releasing what you don't need. I invite you to smile and finish with Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a fantastic day. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next time on the mat. Enjoy your day.